What happens when the Revenge Tour meets the Twisted Sister? When Liv Morgan and Nikki Cross paths backstage, you know something explosive is about to go down. Stay tuned because we're breaking down one of the most intense backstage confrontations in recent memory. What's up, Suplex Rumble family? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell because we bring you the most electrifying wrestling breakdowns every single week. Today, we're diving deep into the moment everyone's talking about: Liv Morgan confronting Nikki Cross in one of the most heated backstage encounters we've seen. We'll analyze the psychology, the history, the body language, and what this means for both superstars moving forward. Before we get into the confrontation itself, we need to understand the context. What led these two incredible athletes to this boiling point? Let's start with Liv Morgan. Over the past several months, Liv has been on what she calls her revenge tour. She's been more aggressive, more focused, and more dangerous than ever before. This isn't the same Liv Morgan who started her journey years ago. This is a woman who's tasted championship gold, who's been betrayed, and who's rebuilt herself into an absolute force. Liv has made it crystal clear she's coming for everyone who's ever doubted her, everyone who stood in her way, and everyone who thinks they can take what's hers. The fire in her eyes tells you everything you need to know. She's not playing games anymore. Now, Nikki Cross, and wow, where do we even begin? Nikki has undergone one of the most dramatic transformations we've seen in professional wrestling. From her time in Sanity to her superhero phase, and now to this darker, more unpredictable version of herself, Nikki Cross is absolutely unhinged in the best possible way. What makes Nikki so dangerous isn't just her in-ring ability, it's her unpredictability. You never know what you're going to get with Nikki Cross. She'll smile at you one second and try to take your head off the next. She operates on a completely different wavelength than everyone else on the roster. So you've got two women, both incredibly talented, both with something to prove, both absolutely fearless. When their paths crossed backstage, it was like watching a lit match meet a powder keg. The question everyone wants answered is, what exactly happened? And more importantly, where does this rivalry go from here? Alright, let's break down this confrontation moment by moment, because every single detail matters. According to reports from those who witnessed the encounter, Liv Morgan was heading back to the locker room area after an interview segment. She's walking with purpose. You can tell she's in that zone, that focused mindset she's been carrying for months. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Nikki Cross appears. Not from the direction Liv was expecting, because of course not. This is Nikki Cross we're talking about. Some witnesses said she was almost waiting, lurking in the shadows of the backstage area. The first words out of Nikki's mouth? A laugh. That signature, unsettling Nikki Cross laugh that sends chills down your spine. She's not charging at Liv, she's not yelling, she's just there, standing in her way, laughing. Now, Liv Morgan is not someone who backs down from anyone. She stops, squares up, and the energy in that hallway immediately shifts. You could feel the tension, even from those watching from a distance. Let's talk body language for a second, because this is where you see the psychology of professional wrestling come alive. Liv's stance is aggressive but controlled, feet shoulder width apart, shoulders back, jaw clenched. She's ready for whatever comes next, but she's not making the first move. She wants Nikki to show her cards. Nikki, on the other hand, is doing that thing she does, that head tilt, the wide eyes, the almost childlike curiosity mixed with absolute chaos. She's circling slightly, never breaking eye contact. It's predatory, it's unnerving, and it's exactly the kind of psychological warfare that makes Nikki Cross so effective. Then comes the verbal exchange. We don't have exact quotes because this wasn't a segment designed for cameras, this was a real backstage moment that got intense. But from what multiple sources have reported, Liv made it absolutely clear that whatever Nikki is planning, whatever mind games she's trying to play, they won't work. Liv's message was simple: I've been through too much to be intimidated by you. Powerful stuff. Because think about Liv's journey, the heartbreak, the betrayals, the times she's had to climb back from nothing. She's not the same person who can be psyched out anymore. But Nikki? Nikki just keeps smiling. She leans in closer, and this is where it gets really intense. She whispers something that we don't know the exact words of, but whatever it was, it made Liv's expression change from anger to something else. Concern? Curiosity? Determination? That's the genius of this confrontation. It's not about who threw the first punch or who shouted the loudest. It's about the psychological game, the mental chess match happening between two of the most complex characters in wrestling today. The confrontation ends with security and producers stepping in before things can get physical, but the damage is done. The line has been drawn. These two are on a collision course, and when they finally collide in that ring, it's going to be explosive. Now, some of you might be wondering, is there history between these two? Have they faced each other before? Let's dive into that. Liv Morgan and Nikki Cross have actually crossed paths several times throughout their careers, but never quite like this. They've been in multi-person matches together, they've been in the same battle royals, but a dedicated, focused feud between these two? That's something we haven't really seen yet. And that's what makes this so exciting. Both of these women came up through the developmental system, both had to fight and claw for every opportunity. They've watched each other evolve, they know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and there's a level of respect there even if it's buried under layers of intensity and aggression right now. Let's talk about their contrasting styles, because this is crucial to understanding why a match between them would be so compelling. Liv Morgan has really refined her in-ring work over the past few years. She's faster, more technical, and she's added a mean streak to her arsenal that makes her dangerous from any position. She can fly, she can grapple, and when she locks in the oblivion or goes for the devastating codebreaker, it's lights out. Nikki Cross brings absolute chaos. She's brawling, she's hitting you from angles you don't expect, and she thrives in that environment where things break down. Nikki doesn't need everything to be clean and technical, in fact, she prefers when things get messy. That's where she's most comfortable. It's order versus chaos. Structure versus unpredictability. Fire versus fury. What's also fascinating is the character work both women are doing right now. Liv is focused on her revenge tour, on proving she belongs at the top of the division. Every move she makes is calculated toward that goal. Nikki's motivations are less clear, and that's by design. Is she targeting Liv specifically? Or is Liv just another person standing in the way of whatever twisted plan Nikki has? That ambiguity makes this even more compelling. Now, let's talk about what you, the fans, have been saying, because the reaction to this confrontation has been incredible. The wrestling community absolutely lit up when news of this backstage encounter started spreading. On Twitter, on Reddit, on Instagram, everywhere people are talking about this potential rivalry. Some fans are saying this is exactly the kind of fresh matchup the women's division needs. We've seen certain rivalries play out multiple times, but Liv versus Nikki as a focused, intense feud? That's something that feels new and exciting. Others are pointing out that both women are at career-defining moments. Liv is trying to cement her legacy as one of the top stars in the company. Nikki is trying to show that her current character evolution is more than just an act, it's a legitimate threat to everyone in the division. There's also been a ton of discussion about the psychology of the confrontation. Wrestling fans are smart, you all picked up on the body language, the positioning, the way both women carried themselves. The analysis videos and breakdown threads have been amazing to read through. And of course, there are the fantasy booking threads. Everyone's got their ideas about how this should play out. Should it be a straight singles match? A no disqualification brawl? Should there be a stipulation involved? The fact that there's so much engagement, so much excitement about the possibility of this feud tells you everything you need to know about how compelling both of these performers are. So where does this go from here? Let's put on our prediction hats and talk about the possible directions for this rivalry. Scenario 1, the slow burn. This confrontation could be the first spark in a longer burning rivalry. We might see weeks of Nikki playing mind games with Liv, appearing unexpectedly, costing her matches, creating paranoia. This builds to a match where the intensity has reached a fever pitch and both women are desperate to prove their dominance. The advantage of this approach? It gives both characters time to develop the feud through promos, interactions, and storytelling. By the time they actually face off one-on-one, the audience is absolutely invested. Scenario 2, the immediate collision. Alternatively, we could get a match between them within the next few weeks. Strike while the iron is hot, give the fans what they want to see, and let these two incredible athletes tear the house down in that ring. The advantage here? Immediate payoff, high energy, and it leaves room for the feud to continue after the first match if the story calls for it. Scenario 3, the championship angle. Here's an interesting possibility. What if this rivalry becomes intertwined with a championship picture? Imagine both Liv and Nikki chasing the same title, with their personal animosity making every interaction more intense. Their confrontations become about more than just beating each other, it's about proving who deserves to be champion. Personally, I think this has the potential to be one of the most compelling women's feuds of the year, regardless of which direction it goes. Both performers are at the top of their game right now, both have something to prove, and both are capable of delivering absolute classics in that ring. What makes wrestling special is when you get two performers who genuinely bring out the best in each other. Liv's fire and determination against Nikki's chaos and unpredictability? That's a recipe for magic. I also think this feud could elevate both women even further. Sometimes the best rivalries aren't about a winner and a loser, they're about two competitors pushing each other to new heights. Think about the classic feuds throughout wrestling history, both people came out better for having gone through that war. This could be that kind of rivalry for Liv and Nikki. So there you have it, Suplex Rumble family, a complete breakdown of the Liv Morgan and Nikki Cross backstage confrontation, the context behind it, and where this incredible story might be heading. What do you think? Are you Team Liv, ready to ride the revenge tour all the way to the top? Or are you Team Nikki, embracing the chaos and unpredictability? Let me know in the comments below, I read every single one. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button, it really helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on those notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the world of professional wrestling. We've got more incredible content coming your way: character analyses, match breakdowns, fantasy booking, and all the wrestling discussion you can handle.